All right. Well, welcome back to the show. Um, I've been starting these with asking people their why for competing in HYROX or doing any sport. Like, is there like overriding motivator for it for you?
I don't I think I just am a competitive person. I enjoy sport. I enjoy challenging myself. I enjoy pushing myself and seeing what I can achieve. So I think Hyrox is the perfect avenue for that, really, isn't it? It's a hard sport. It pushes you to your limits and it challenges you. So I think it fits perfectly in my life for that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
at the moment there's a bit of a gap though.
Well, that leads us on nicely then. So you raced in Chicago at the World Championships, and we can talk about that in a bit. But since then, you've had quite a bad injury. I actually don't know exactly what the injury is. What is it?
So I fully ruptured my ACL, my posterior capsule. I severely tore my medial and I think one other ligament. I can't remember the name of it. And there was just one hell of a lot of soft tissue damage around that. So I ruptured, I think, two to three things, tore everything else in the area.
Okay. Wow.
So they then grafted two of my hamstrings to reconstruct my knee. So then, yeah, I decided to graft off of myself. It's a bit of a
Okay.
weird shopping list you can choose from, like a cow, a pig, a dead person, yourself.
Yourself sounds like the best option out of those.
Well, he did put up a list and he said, I'll tell you what I think the strongest thing on this list is, seeing as you're an athlete. And George was in the room with me and George was going, a cheetah, a cheetah. Um, can't use an animal.
How did the injury happen?
See, I want to say it's something like really cool, like I was doing some triple somersault and it's really not. I wasn't even training. I had been training, and all I was doing was stepping off of a box, but I was turning at the same time to get down. And as my foot came off of the box, it clipped the top of the box, and my whole body is already turning. My foot can't land flat on the floor because I've caught it. My other foot is on the box. All the weight is going down through the leg that's coming down onto the floor that's not landing flat. And because my body was turning, my knee just completely twisted. And then there was this really horrible sound. It sounded like someone stamped on a bag of crisps.
Right.
And I lay on the floor and I thought, that really didn't sound very good. And then I laid there for a bit, being a bit dramatic. And then I was the only one here. So I thought, right, okay, my phone's on the other side. I'll see if I can crawl across to my phone. And I thought, oh, don't be so dramatic. Like, get up and try and walk. So then I stood up. I thought, oh, I think I'm okay. And I took two steps, completely stacked it. My leg buckled. The next thing I know, I've head butted the rower.
Oh, no.
And now I'm laying on the floor. I'm like, okay, I've now definitely hurt my leg and I've now definitely hurt my head. So quite a dramatic 5 minutes. Got home
Yeah.
and thought, there's something really wrong with my leg. Tried to go up the stairs and it just, like, there was nothing there. And I was in quite a lot of pain at that point. We spoke to the knee surgeon that we know quite well. He got me in for a scan the next morning. And I think it was more like I'd been in a car crash than it was just insane the amount of damage I had done. So, and then it's just all gone from there, really.
Wow.
One of
Wow.
those, and it's part of sport and it's part of, I know a lot of people that in sport, they'll train at the highest level and can be something really non-sport related or just some freak accident
Hmm.
and it just changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the recovery for this? Like how long are you out? And like I know
Nine,
you've told me like offline that you're basically learning to walk again, effectively.
so nine to 12 months is my
Okay.
recovery. He said hopefully more towards 9, but where I need the ligaments to fully, my new fake ligaments to fully attach and really embed, he said if I do anything before 9 months, I will be a bit silly because the chances are I could pull them off. And the thing is, when you've grafted off yourself, the last thing you want to do is waste two perfectly good hamstrings that you've just grafted from. So I'm not going to rush it. I've got no timeline on it. and I think having a timeline was only going to give me disappointment if I don't hit things again. So yeah, I've had walking lessons, which is it's crazy. Like you think what you were doing this time last year to where I am now, and yeah, it's been really, really tough. But I'm nearly fully walking properly without a limp. Although I thought I was the other day, but then my children told me that I was still limping. I was like, I think I've got it, and they were like, no. And yeah, I've started doing body weight squats in the last couple of weeks and body weight lunges. And it's just it's scary, it can feel so strong, but I'm not allowed any pivoting for 9 months. So I can't change direction quickly or anything like that. And if you catch it wrong, there's just nothing there. So I think that's the scary part about it. You just have to stay so straight. And I guess crowds of people, things like that. So if I get quite anxious. So yeah, probably no worse place for me to be than a HYROX competition right now.
Yeah. I guess it's one that you have to remember as well. Like if you feel like fairly strong and you can like start to lunge and squat and things like, but that quick turn or something like that you could easily forget that you're not meant to do that.
Yeah, so getting overconfident. And
Yeah.
so at first they wanted me to have a special leg brace for when I trained. But then the rehab team decided, because they said, yeah, you would be able to do more on it when you trained, but they were scared that I would get almost too confident, like being in the brace. And then when I came out of it, I would then jeopardize that by just forgetting. And I felt like that was something I would do as well. So I just decided, do you know what? I'm only going to do what I'm capable of with it as it is, just because I knew that and you do forget. I went to get in the car naturally after about 3 weeks, and you just forget, like, you can't do that, and it just goes from underneath you. You have to, like, turn around and reverse into the car backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Presumably you've been through like an awful lot of emotions in the last couple of months, like dealing with this. Um, where are you at now, and like what have you found has helped you in like how to think about it? Is it like you're just taking it every day at a time? Are you focused on the ultimate goal? How are you thinking about it?
So I think I mean, I've read a few books and things like that just to help me process things. I think you definitely go through the stage of, first of all, kind of denial. Oh, it'll be all right tomorrow, and I'm sure I'll be okay. I won't need an operation. And then you go through many. You sort of bargain with yourself, thinking, oh, well, maybe I can't run, but I could do this. And you then get to the stage of depression. And actually, that's quite a good stage because it's right before you're going to accept what's going on. So when you're starting to get depressed, it's actually not a bad thing. I know that sounds crazy because you've actually started to accept the situation. And I've gone through a lot of emotions. I think at first I found it really helpful just trying to have a routine. So I'm very routine, very structured based with my training, with my work, with my life. I think a lot of athletes are because they have to, fit certain things in and they have to do things on a schedule. So I found even though what was in the routine had changed, having a routine just helped me. Like I like to tick things off a list as such. And when I came out of hospital, my list was get up, have a shower, get dressed, get downstairs, and try and make myself some food. And that was all that was on the list. And it sounds crazy, but that could take me all day. It could take me an hour and a half just to get myself to the shower, get out. It was crazy. But I liked having those goals, even though the goals weren't row 10K, run this. It was goals that I could tick off and it felt like I had achieved. And then I just felt like I had structure in my day. And so in the first week, I decided that I wanted to get to the gym, not to do anything. I just wanted to come into the gym, see the guys that work around here and just like say hi and just be here. So that was like one thing that I wanted to tick off. And then it just progressed. I'd add something on. So then I started to train and it would be, try and achieve this. And with my goals, it wasn't on a Monday you're going to do this, on a Tuesday you're going to do this, because you wake up and you don't know what you're capable of that day, and it can vary. Like I have good days and bad days now. So I would write a list out of things that I would want to achieve, and then on that morning, it's sort of you decide actually, I feel really good. I'm gonna be able to row one-legged this amount, and then on another day you might need to rein it back. So I sort of had overall goals but just sort of then loosely fitted them into my week. And that really, really worked because then if I'd have said, oh, you have to do this on a Monday, and I get up and I physically can't, you feel like you're failing all the time. And that's not great in the situation you're in. And it gave me just some really sort of positive vibes. The other thing that I found really, really useful, I took myself away from the gym into the swimming pool. And everything in this gym is going to remind me of HYROX and remind me of where I'm at. And as much as I say don't compare yourself, it's hard not to compare yourself when you're sat with the rower and you know what you're capable of and you know what you're doing now. It's still in the back of your mind. It doesn't matter who you are, you'll still remember what you could do. Whilst in the swimming pool, it's there's no scar tissue there. It was just me in the pool, and I'd get out and I'd just feel good regardless of what sort of session I'd had in the pool. I wasn't remembering anything sort of HYROX related, and it just felt like a really nice place to be. It replaced my long runs. So, those long, slow runs that we love to go out and, it's a good mental head sort of fixer as such. Like I'd go to think about loads of things when I was out on a run. I then started doing it in the pool. I just get in the pool, swim for an hour, just process things in my head. It was really good. So
Good.
yeah.
Good. Now we've had sports psychologists on here before, and they've talked about injury before, and like not thinking about where you used to be and like resenting the fact that you can't do that right now, like is a big like mental factor in overcoming injury. And then like you said, just having the goals and focusing on what you can do now certainly feels like important to me. What but is that like if there's someone going through something similar or any kind of injury, what like is that the advice you would give them if they're going through that, or is there anything else?
For me, it was obviously having a routine, like I just spoke about. It was another thing I found really useful was filming myself. And it sounds silly, but almost at my lowest. When I came out of hospital, I was sat on the floor staring at my leg. I was willing my leg to move with every inch of me, and I was just trying to get my leg just to move. And nothing happens. It's horrible. And you're staring at it, you're trying your hardest. And I'd almost get out of breath and I would move it like this far and then I'd have to rest. It was, yeah, it is, until you're there, you just think, how am I here? And I videoed a lot of that. And then, 2 weeks down the line, when you can move it more, but you're having a bad day and you look back through and you realize how far you've come, it's a really, it's really good. Because at the time you're like, oh, I don't really want to video myself sat on the floor crying and trying to move my leg. But it's a bit like a weight loss journey or sort of a transformation where people take pictures of themselves and you realize how far you've come. And it's the same thing. It was the progress. And I'd have a really bad day where I just almost wanted to quit. And I'd look back and think, wow, you couldn't even move your leg 2 weeks ago. And now you can move it. So I think that's advice I would give is to take progress videos. And on those bad days, you'll realize how far you've come.
Mm-hmm.
Have I've got a lot of I've had some really close friends who've all sort of supported me and they've sort of come in and trained alongside me, just like 2 or 3 people that I've kinda let see me as I am. And that's been actually really sweet, just like having a little bit of support as well. So I found that useful. And just trying to find things that I could do which wouldn't jeopardize my leg and still get the kick out of training and still feel like I was achieving. And I've pretty much discovered that if you can do it standing, you can pretty much do it seated somehow.
I've seen you skiing, doing this seated skiing.
Yeah, that's tough. That's mentally tough as well. So,
Yeah.
the seated ski, I used to skateboard when I was rowing, so to straighten keep one leg straight, and then I would just rest my leg on the skateboard, so then everything was going just one-legged rowing basically. But, dumbbell snatch, kettlebell swings, chest press, wall balls I did seated. and I did, even like a farmer's hold. I would sit down and just hold the kettlebells like this just for my grip strength. So there was lots of things, and I think I found that actually quite useful as well.
Have you like I know you said like you're not like trying to rush back and you need the 9 months at least and things like that. Are you thinking about an ultimate goal? Is it that like you want to get back to the elite 15? Is that driving you or not?
So at first it was physically I can't, if I wanted to, for my timeline, there is no chance of Elite 15 this season because of the timeline. If you look at the last race, which is it Warsaw?
Uh, yeah, majors, yeah, yeah.
And that is, I want to say it's April time, right?
April, yeah, I
I
think. Yeah.
need two times before that. So I'd need two races. I've been told I shouldn't really be racing until May. So, there's that that sort of has sailed this season. And I've just accepted that. And I think it's, in some respects, I think it's actually quite good that the timeline doesn't fit, because it's just taking it away from me. It's out of my hands, and I'm not going to do anything stupid. I was then hoping that possibly I could race in May or end of May and try and get to world champs in my age category. And a few people say, "Oh, would you still do that?" Yeah, there's nothing. It's still a massive an achievement. And even if for me right now, if I raced a HYROX with open weights, that was still a massive achievement to achieve in a year from what I've been through. But I'm just going to take it as it comes, because actually I've had a few chats with Meg Jacoby, and yeah, just a few things that she said has it's just made me realize as well, there's a bigger picture out there, and rushing back too soon isn't necessarily like going to do you any favors, is it? So even if I took this whole season out and got myself strong enough, and then I can make a decision. So I think I want to get myself strong enough and fast enough that if I wanted to compete, I could, and then I'll make that decision. Because if I do this again, it's not will I compete again, it's will I walk again.
Right,
And
yeah.
I've got two kids and I've got a bigger picture. And yeah, it's very hard because you've got the competitive side that you want to be back there, you wish you were, but the reality is it's not there now, and I need to be sensible.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Um, let's like injury aside, it's been a couple of years since you've been on here, which is amazing, really. But so we covered some of this last time, but just briefly, like in terms of your like sporting background, childhood, what were you doing like prior to HYROX?
So I did a bit of triathlon. So I guess that's where it's been quite easy for me to get back in the pool, because it's something that I have done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just generally fairly sporty with hockey. I sort of did quite a lot of sports. And yeah, nothing to the level that I did HYROX at. But
Okay,
yeah.
but you found you were pretty well suited, like when HYROX came along, like you took to it fairly well, fairly quickly.
Yeah. And weirdly, I never, like, in my teenage years, I wasn't actually a runner. It wasn't until later on in life I started running, but I've always sort of been a swimmer and sort of a sports, like field hockey and stuff like that, and used to do some athletics. It just had general, like, we were quite a sporty family. So yeah, my dad, my mum, and things like that, we'd always be out doing something. And
Okay,
then yeah, I did some CrossFit, and then it just evolved from there, really.
okay. Um, and in terms of your life, like you mentioned, your mum, you work as well, like you do quite a lot of training. It seems. How do you fit all of that in?
I get up really early.
What time?
4, half 4,
Ah, okay.
because
And
then
what you're
the
that's when you train.
yeah, and I get a lot of my work done. So most days I'm at the school gates to pick them up. So James will do the school drop off, and I like to pick them up. They've got lots of clubs there. George is heavily into athletics and running. My daughter is ballet, 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 more ballet. And I want to pick them up and take them to those things. So if I get everything I need to do done really early, then I can still be mummy in the afternoon and the evening. And I think that's, really important, sitting down, doing their reading, doing their homework, having food with them, taking them to places. And I'd never want them to miss out because I was doing too much myself. And it's just obviously finding that balance. So, they're still asleep a lot of the time when I'm training and no one misses. So
And they're pretty like I know George, for example, he's putting in some quick run times nowadays, right?
yeah, he really loves it, and he loves his HYROX, and he loves watching it. And even when the other day, obviously mummy in Hamburg, but we still sat and watched it, and he's still just as interested, even well, maybe not quite as interested because mummy wasn't there, but he still wanted to watch both the races, and he knows all the athletes. We play this little game where I say their first name and he has to say their surname, and he's pretty impressive actually. And I try and catch him out, and he knows. Although there's a few new names in there this season that he hasn't quite got. So he really loves it.
He might have to teach me until, to be honest.
He's he's got a few little he's videoing with HYROX Reese for the young stars.
Hmm.
So at the moment he's saying, "Mummy, you're not the HYROX star in this family anymore." He's now run quicker than me, right?
So will he be doing the young stars? Like, is he? I think the first one's in Amsterdam. Is it?
Amsterdam, I think it's January time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we'll go to Amsterdam or not, but I think he would love that. So I think he will be asking mummy if we can go. So
Okay, awesome.
he practices in my gym.
So prior to the injury, like you raced in Chicago, the World Championships. Like how was that? And I know you done like singles and doubles that weekend. How did that go?
So I'll be honest, my singles was not, I mean, I'd had a really good season up until Glasgow. Glasgow, I came out the blocks and I felt like that's the strongest I'd ever felt. And then obviously that's when I had my ankle injury. And I was basically fighting from Glasgow to get back for Worlds. So in the lead up to Worlds, out of, I don't know, maybe 14 weeks, I was only running for about 2 of them. So it wasn't a very good lead into Worlds. So I think I did the best that I could have done in that situation.
Hmm.
There's part of me that doesn't think that it's a massive coincidence that it was my left ankle that I hurt and it's now my right knee that I've hurt. I
Right.
think, compensation. And I do find if I'm injured on one side, the next time I'm injured, it's often on the other side. There's probably compensation there and things like that. Maybe I pushed too hard to get back. You just don't know. And there's many whys and ifs and things like that and buts, but what's happened's happened and I can't change it. Doubles, I found tough because I didn't feel like I had my legs there. I felt like I was running, and so in the singles, on the first lap, James is down by the barriers and he obviously thinks, wow, there's something up because where's Kate? She's normally at least sort of mid pack and I was right at the back coming into ski. I think I was plumb last. And James went, "Are you okay?" And I just smiled. I went, "I'm good." And he's like, "Really?" And I go around again, "You sure?" I went, "Yeah." He's just like, and at the end, he said, "I thought," I said, "No." I said, there was nothing there.
Right.
And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to make the bet. I'm just going to try my hardest and we'll see what happens. So I think I was 11th. I'm not even sure. I think I was 11th. Obviously, it wasn't my best. It could have been worse, but I was proud that I got out there and I tried. And I was I was actually really happy with the 4 I got in the doubles. And I knew my body just wasn't there. But if you look at my season last year, I had the best season and also the worst season at the end. And that's just how it goes sometimes. So I had amazing finishes through Amsterdam, like actually Worlds the year before, Amsterdam, Hong Kong, even Vegas wasn't that bad. It's just the way it goes, isn't it? And you have good races, you have bad races.
Yeah, yeah. and you're still 11th in the world, you know. So it's not that bad. You got injured in Glasgow. Was that an accident, or do you look back and think, oh, like maybe I did something wrong there, or maybe I made a mistake or in training or anything like that, or is it just a freak
No,
accident?
I was just running, and sometimes you get it's because it's like a warehouse unit. I don't know what you call it. Um,
Convention center.
yeah,
Yeah,
the can be perfect, is it? And it's not always perfect, and that's just how it is. It's not HYROX's fault. I was running and I just rolled my ankle. I think I caught it on just a slight sort of dip, and I just rolled my ankle. And I grabbed onto the barrier, and I thought, okay, that's not good. But then sometimes when you roll your ankle, you can kind of shake it off, can't you? And
yeah.
you start running. And I thought, oh, you're going to feel like a right idiot if you can walk this off in 10 minutes. So I hung onto the barrier. I thought, right, try and run it off. And then I quickly realized that it was actually worse than it was. And that was ligaments. So it was when I was on the sled pull and Faisal came over to me.
Yeah.
My ankle's collapsing. He's like, what are we doing here? I'm like, I'm just going to finish the sled pull. Why? Because you're not going to finish the race. I was like, fair point, actually. And it's a good job that he kind of gave me a reality check at that point, because if I had tried to burpee broad jump on that,
Mm,
the damage would have just been too much. I would have probably fully ruptured things and stuff. And it wasn't, that was like grade 2.
yeah. Yeah.
So
One highlight of the season as well that we've not mentioned is you got the relay world record in Las Vegas. How was that? How was that race? What legs did you do?
so I did burpees and farmer's carry. It was good, although that one was slightly different because of the setup.
Mm,
So you almost did 2/3 of your run, then the exercise, and then the rest. The run back was actually quite long. It was almost like a third of your run, which I really felt sorry for the girls on the ergs. So Lauren Weeks had taken the ski, Lauren Griffiths had taken the row, and when you have absolutely spent it on the ergs, and then you have to do another run like that, yeah, it didn't look pretty. So, it was a really good race though. It was so fun. It was a really nice way to finish the weekend. 4 of your mates just out there having a laugh. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed that race. But it's frantic,
mm,
and it's just a different ball game. It's like the same from solo to doubles. It's almost slightly different. Obviously when you're doing doubles, it's max output, kind of short, sharp bursts, things like that. Whilst when you're in a solo, you're not stopping, but you keep like it's just you. And then when you're doing the relay, that run, my lungs were burning, and I was burping, just trying to jump as far as I could, and yeah, I think the skin completely off my knees.
what do you prefer? Do you prefer singles, doubles, or relay?
I actually think I'm a better at solo than doubles. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not good at doubles, but I think I'm probably better at just continually going. I don't think, like, if you were to ask me to sprint or to do a 5K, I think I'd be better at over 5K than a sprint as such.
Mhm.
So maybe as I'm getting older, like those fast twitch muscle fibers are vanishing a little bit. So more of an endurance, longer sort of session is definitely more me rather than like the speed and the power.
Yeah. You mentioned burpees. Like that is one of your strengths for sure. Like what the times you put in the Elite 15 races is very impressive. So give us some tips.
Hamstrings. So make sure you have decent hamstring mobility, because when you're jumping in, you can then just like pop in without bending your knees, and it saves you. Some people, if they don't have that, they'll almost be doing a squat standing up as they come in. They'll sort of come
Hmm.
in and then stand up. So having really good hamstring mobility, and also when you're coming down to the floor, a lot of upper body strength. So I started doing burpees with my leg injury before I was doing squats and lunges, because actually I use a lot of upper body. I don't really use my legs at all, apart from when I'm jumping, obviously. So press ups, chest press, anything, because you're doing that a lot and having that pop. So get down as fast as you can. So when people try and control it, when we're not there to sort of technique on the burpee of controlling it, just get down and then get back up. I used to find I never thought about 80 meters of burpee broad jumps, because 80 sounds like a massive number, right? I would know roughly how many burpees I want to do per length. I would focus on my jump, trying to jump that, like, even that much further each time would then save me 2 to 3 burpees. I then play games in my head, so I might do 5 jump in, then 5 where I step in. And I don't know why, but playing games in my head like that, before I know it, I've done 15 and you're pretty much halfway there.
Mm.
So I think maybe learn how many burpees you do, and that then feels a lot more manageable than thinking about, oh, I've got 18 meters. Get your chest strong, get your core strong, and have really mobile hamstrings, and then practice your jumping. So different types of burpees. So burpee to plate, burpee box jump, devil press, normal burpees, box jumps, single leg jumps. Yeah,
Do you you mentioned the hamstring mobility? Do you like work on that? Is that something you consciously work on?
I'm very lucky. I'm quite flexible. So I've never really had an issue with mobility. If anything, I'm probably slightly hypermobile. So it's something I've had to watch sort of with. So when I play golf, like my elbow would want to come through there and I have to make sure it's there. So I do stretch and I do mobility, but I've never struggled with mobility. So I guess I'm quite lucky in that respect.
Okay. And then you mentioned like trying to jump further per jump, which makes sense, but at the same time, like uh I think sometimes some people like try and jump less, do more reps, but not jump so far. But do you find like the opposite? You'd rather do less reps and bigger jumps?
I would rather jump slightly more and do less reps. And
Okay.
the lines that they use, obviously, for judging and guidelines and things, I would take a reference point. Obviously, when your hands go down, I'll always be looking to where I want to try and jump to.
Okay. And do you know, I'm guessing you do know because you'd have talked about this with Anthony, no doubt. But like, how many reps do you do over the 80 meters? Is it like 40?
No, I think I do. Oh, I need to double check, but I think 36,
Okay,
sometimes a bit less.
okay. Do you know? I know you're part of the hybrid engine, and like Lauren Weeks is in there, Lauren Griffith. Do you know how like is 36? Do you know how that compares to them two, for example?
No,
No.
I think we all roughly jump around the same, because when I was watching Hamburg, I I was watching sort of everyone's jumps, and I think a lot of the girls are jumping a little bit further now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Nice. Um, aside from just burpees, in terms of your training and like your improvement in performances, really over the past whatever 18 months or so, um, is there one or two factors that you put that down to more than anything? Like, is it training volume? Is it the style of the running training that you've been doing? Anything in particular?
Running thresholds
Hmm.
really changed my running times. They came down, and obviously they don't need to come down massively. You can come down by 5 seconds each kilometer. You're running 8 times, so that helps hugely. It's a running race really with bits in between. So, and I think I was then, because I was stronger in my running, I was then going in and out of stations quicker and coming out of the station feeling fresher and being able to get back into my running rhythm quicker. So I think that really helped. I got stronger in my legs. So I mean, I'm quite little, so the sleds and things like that, where mass moves mass, is always going to be harder. I only weigh like 52 kilos, so sometimes that the sled feels quite heavy to me. And I think getting stronger obviously helped and helped my legs feel fresher when I was coming out of the sleds, and I didn't feel like I was sort of hobbling out of the sleds. I felt like I could run out of them. So I think working on my strength, but I think mainly running thresholds and knowing my threshold properly as well. So taking the data and actually not just going, I think it's around here, knowing sort of roughly where my threshold was and understanding that feeling of when you go over your threshold. I can feel that slightly now. And there's days where obviously your threshold does change week to week. I'd only test it every sort of 3 to 4 months. But I think you start to get more of an understanding of what it feels like when you're in the wrong zone.
Hmm. Okay. And that like you said, like one of the major changes is running thresholds. So that was spending more time at threshold in the week. So now maybe you're doing a couple of sessions at threshold, whereas before, and tell me if I'm wrong, like maybe it was more like zone 2 and then faster paced stuff like beyond threshold. Is that how it looked before?
Yeah, and I didn't do much zone like, that's the other thing that changed was my almost my aerobic zone 2, like my base. I didn't do hardly any of that 3, 4 years ago, and that just gave me such a nice base to work from, and you realize how important that is just as well as hitting the other end, is to have the base there. Because if you don't have the base, you know, where what foundations are you working off of? And I think sometimes in my head, I was pushing myself too hard too much of the time, and I got told to just rein it back a little bit. And then weirdly, I started going faster. So it felt quite counterintuitive, but it seemed to work.
What was your like running volume in terms of mileage? Maybe like let's say like 2 months before Chicago. Oh, if you were fit, like 2 months before Glasgow. Uh, how much would you run per week?
So I would build up, and I wouldn't obviously be running this every week, but I'd build up to around about 100K a week. And that would be where I built up to. Uh, It would be more, say, 70 or 80, and then build up, and then I would drop back off and things like that. So sort of peak, that would be sort of max for me. And even then, sometimes it was only about 90. So that seems
That's
to
quite.
how to
That's
even.
quite a lot.
I think I roughed yesterday. I walked 250 meters holding on the track.
That's quite a lot though. Did your legs hold up like okay at sort of 90 kilometers a week? Yeah.
Yeah, I felt really good actually. And going into Glasgow, I felt the strongest I'd ever felt. I was gutted about that race because I felt really good. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Is there anything training wise that you that you think that maybe a lot of people would disagree with?
Um, I don't know because everyone has different. Yeah, everyone has such different opinions. But I think personally, it's what works for you. So what works for me might not work for you, and it might not work for Lauren Weeks, and it might not work for Major like your bodies respond differently. I think there's obviously an element of training that everyone needs through HYROX. Everyone needs to be able to run. Everyone needs a base. Everyone needs to do their zone 2. But then the other bits around that, I think it is how your body works or what you respond to,
Mhm.
and your energy and how you're fueling yourself and things like that, and how well you recover. So I think it is then very individual and personal.
Okay. I know you've been a fan of ice baths in the past. Is that still part of your like recovery procedure?
Yes, I had to stop for a while. So after I had surgery, because obviously I had all my stitch thing, couldn't get my leg wet for a while, but I had like one of those game ready ice compression cuffs,
Mhm.
which hands down, if you've had surgery, leg surgery, just you can rent them. They are amazing, absolutely phenomenal, and they will help your recovery so much. And so I had that, and it's basically the same, and it keep your leg so cold for even like an hour and a half afterwards. I'd touch my leg and it'd still be cold. But now my ice bath is back up and running and I can use it.
Okay. And do you feel like is that do you just do that because it makes you feel good? Is it part of a mental challenge, or do you think it actually like is an important part of like your training, recovering for the next session and things like that?
I find it does help me recover really well. I find that I have less DOMS when I'm using an ice bath. Sometimes I'll do hot cold therapy as well. So I'll run like a warm bath and I'll go from hot to cold, just sort of to almost get that flush through of the muscles. Sort of when the blood goes back through, you sort of almost feel it sort of pumping back into the muscles, and that helps. So I just find that I get less DOMS, and I do find mentally it helps me clear my head, and I don't know, I just zone out. Yeah, I feel really good when I get out. So I just like the mental side of it as well. I think it's quite nice.
Yeah. Do you know where you were at like for like a 10K or half marathon sort of run?
What but now could be there a while. But
Before Glasgow.
oh, for Glasgow, 5K. I think around like maybe mid-18s.
Okay.
Um, and 10K, not too sure, but my 5K to 10K didn't massively vary. Like you could almost just double it, which is
Right.
where I'm saying, like, I think I'm actually better over a longer period of time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And my
And then
fast miles might actually be in the second half of that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. And then on the like the strength side of things, like you said, you only weigh 50 something kilograms. You're like quite petite, but you're getting through the sleds and even the ergs. Like you, you do pretty well on. Like, is that how have you thought about that in training? Are you trying to build your max strength up? Is it more you're focused on like the muscular endurance, and are you pacing the runs so that you've got more energy going into the stations? How do you think about that side of things?
I don't really do max strength or one rep max or things like that. That's just me. I would do more sort of muscular endurance work, but I have got stronger. We've worked on sort of my squats, deadlifts, all of sort of like the basic strength exercises, and just practicing as well, like using a heavier sled and making sure that it feels like a horrible HYROX. Like, you get good days and better days on sleds, and I would always try and make it feel like a horrible sled, just so that every time you're getting to a sled, if you don't get quite as horrible sled, it's a nice surprise.
Yeah.
And I think just obviously with the running, feeling stronger going into those and out of those is just a benefit, and you get used to that feeling and being able to just flush the legs out. And I remember Anthony saying to me once, just get through that first 100 to 150 meters of the run, and actually your legs they'll feel fine. And to be fair, by the time I've normally left with the rock zone and I'm hitting that first run, I feel like I'm in my stride.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh, from a like switching to like a mindset approach, like your mindset during the race, where does your mind go? Like when things are getting tough during the race?
Well, I don't think it's any surprise. I've been asked this a lot. My head is always, I'm driven a lot by my son, and what he's gone through and how brave he's been. And I guess if he can get up every single day and he goes into school with a smile on his face and things like that, you just think, do you know what? I'm actually here. I've chosen to be here. I'm in an amazing position. Just man up. It's an hour of pain. Just get through it, Kate. And I think I've always got him in my head a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. How about on the like at the start line of a big race? Is there anything that's going through your head then? Are you thinking about are you thinking motivational thoughts? Are you thinking just like how to pace it? What's the thought there?
Um, Faisal, hurry up and get us out. I just, I'll go, right, you've got 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I just want to go now. Like, I'm just waiting. I don't, I guess I try to visualize what I want to do, but sometimes it all goes out the window anyway. Like the gun or whatever goes. And you go, right, I'm not gonna chase, like, I'm not gonna go too hard straight away, and then everyone goes, and you're like, oh well, okay, off you go. I think, yeah, I'm just willing it to start at that point. I find the most traumatic bit of the whole event for me is having to walk out on stage and like wave and then run down through the wall ball arch bit and then run to the start line. I find that the worst part of the whole race. I just want to be on the track and get going. All I'm thinking about is, oh, don't trip up going down the ramp. Don't like run into a wall ball post. And then you're smiling and you're thinking all these things. And because you're thinking them, you then start going, oh no, can I, like, you start thinking, am I going to trip up over my own feet? So I
Yeah.
think I'm willing it to start.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This has been great. What's do you have a favorite sporting experience? Is it something in HYROX? Is it something before?
I did really, really enjoy the Ironman I did,
Okay.
and I'm actually looking at doing something called swim run as well, which is where you, like, for instance, they do one in Stockholm where you swim from island to island and you run across the islands. So experience wise, I think something like that's quite cool, like the scenery, the challenge, like something a bit different. So I'm thinking about doing something a little bit like that as well, maybe when I'm coming back.
Okay. Cool. Where was the Ironman that you did?
Lanzarote.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, and I think it's just the bike that puts me off now. That's why I want to do the swim and the run.
All right. And how about the toughest thing that you've done?
Iron Man, just the sheer volume that you're out there for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I think high rocks can be just as tough, but in a different sense. But I think mentally for me, probably easier because you know that it's over within a certain window. When you know that you're going to be out there for hours and hours and hours, that's mentally maybe harder. So, it, yeah, mental and physical slightly different.
Yeah. 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 I can imagine. Um. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for this. Good to see you're on the road to recovery. You're
Mm.
squatting, you're lunging, you're getting there. Um, is there anything else I should have asked you? And if people want to follow you, find out more about you, everything, where should they go?
So I am on Instagram. I'm Precision Golf Kate because of my golfing stuff. Everyone always thinks it's a bit weird. I should have probably changed it a long time ago, but it's stuck now. So we're just rolling with it. And no, I've had a lot of contact from people in similar situations, which has actually helped me personally because sometimes maybe on days where I feel a bit, if someone's messaged me or if I'm helping someone, it almost helps me to like get and do stuff. And like I've had a few chats online with people, or people have sort of said they found some of my content useful. So if anybody is completely in a rut and they're really struggling, or they feel like, because I've been there, uh, don't don't be shy to contact me if you just, like, if you just want a little bit of help or you just want someone to vent to, because I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate this. And talk to you soon.
Cool. Thank you very much.